Stories at townhall.com.
This hour of News Talk STL brought to you by Onder Law. Call for a free consultation because winning is what we do at Onder Law. Call 314 or 618-9000. This is Larry Connor's commentary on News Talk STL.
What's worse than finding a worm in an apple you're eating? Well, what's worse is finding half a worm. The Big Apple, New York City, has a batch of worms, always has. But this time, even New Yorkers might have to admit they've bitten off more than they can chew. Stomach can survive. Former Governor Cuomo was looking forward to winning the New York primary, but the progressive ranked choice voting process, which he liked, left him out. The winner of the primary, a 33-year-old Muslim socialist, Zohran Mamdani. He will carry the Democrat banner into the November general election. As bad as things are with New York citizens and businesses, things could get worse. Mamdani won by pushing defunding police, $30 minimum wage, free transportation, transgender surgery for minors, plus more taxes on business, and also open support for Hamas. 12% of New Yorkers are Jewish. Yes, the Big Apple has another worm. This is one that could eat all the others, and at the same time, the Big Apple.
Get more Larry Connors on Larry Connors USA.
Tonight at 6 on News Talk STL.
The Napoli heritage of fine dining continues with Napoli Kirkwood. Napoli Kirkwood, now open. So add that to Cafe Napoli in Clayton, Napoli 2 in Town and Country, Napoli 3 in St. Charles, right next door to Napoli C, and don't forget about Napoli Brothers Pizza and Pasta in the district, Chesterfield Valley. All of those locations, plus now, open, Napoli Kirkwood.
Success. It's discipline. It's teamwork. It's the drive and passion inside of us that comes before all recognition. It's the best in each of us, made better by the best in all of us. Whatever success looks like to you, Stifel is invested in yours. That's why Stifel is one of the fastest growing global wealth management firms in the country. So whether you're an advisor or an investor, choose Stifel, where success means success. Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member SIPC and NYSE.
News Talk STL. This hour of the Allman Report brought to you by STL Fenceworks, celebrating 50 years of industry-leading service for fence, deck, and leisure space solutions. Visit stlfenceworks.com.
Oh, give me land, lots of land, and the starry skies above. Don't fence me in. Let me ride through the wide open country that I love. Don't fence me in. Let me be by myself in the evening breeze. Listen to the murmur of the cottonwood trees. Send me off forever, but I ask you please. Don't fence me in. Don't fence me in. Just turn me loose. Let me straddle my own saddle underneath the western skies. On my cayuse, let me wander over yonder till I see the mountains rise. I want to ride to the ridge where the west commences. Gaze at the moon until I lose my senses. I can't look at.
Well, good afternoon, everyone, and a happy Thursday to all of you and yours. This is the Allman Report on News Talk STL. And have you guys ever heard of the song "White Liberals Ruin Everything"? I haven't either, but I'm thinking of writing a song that is that, and I'll explain. But first, breaking news, everybody. We're going to go directly to the White House briefing room where young Caroline is telling us a little bit about the investigation into that leak, the intel leak on the Iran operation. Let's see what she has to say.
Nuclear enrichment capacity and stop the grave nuclear threat posed to the United States, Israel, and the rest of the free world. The mission, which will go down in the history books, was an overwhelming success. Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth and the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff Dan Kane covered the operation in great detail at their briefing this morning at the Pentagon, and I encourage every American to watch it. As President Trump has said repeatedly, the United States of America has the greatest, fiercest, and bravest armed forces
By the
ever
way,
to
Dan
stride the face of
Raising
this
Cane,
earth. And we
Dan,
couldn't
you
be
can
more
just turn that down
grateful
just a
and
little bit.
proud
Dan
of
Raising
our
Cane
greatest warriors.
actually brought
The
video
Iranian
with
regime
him
was weeks away from being able
to the
to produce a
briefing,
nuclear weapon
and so he had receipts. So
Former
this
President Trump
Intel leak and the CNN media, the lies about the lack of success of the operation, completely debunked by the general today.
Cash, American taxpayer dollars, in a failed attempt to buy the Iranian regime's compliance with a weak and ineffective deal. President Trump sent a fleet of American warplanes to destroy Iran's ability to produce a nuclear weapon. The United States and the entire world are safer because of this president's decisiveness. Despite agenda-driven leaks by the fake news media aimed at undermining this incredible accomplishment achieved by President Trump and our brave fighter pilots, there is broad consensus emerging already that Iran's nuclear capabilities were indeed destroyed. The United States, Israel, the United Nations, and even Iran all agree they can no longer build a nuclear weapon. So why did the president immediately turn to obliterating after the Iranian nuclear threat? Securing peace. Within 48 hours of the devastating strike, President Trump and his team brokered a historic ceasefire between Israel and Iran and officially ended the 12-day
All right, so
war.
we'll keep you updated on what that is all about, and eventually when we get down to the Attorney General's investigation into the leaks. And there's a good possibility. At first we thought, well, maybe the news media just made this up, that they had this document, but there was indeed a low confidence type of report that should never have been leaked at all. And whoever leaked it is a traitor, and whoever leaked it will probably be found, and indeed probably must be found. There is a strong possibility, in my opinion, that the person who leaked the document was probably a member of Congress. Very unlikely to be someone, well, possibly in the deep state, in the Pentagon, whatever. That's possible. But it would be really stupid to do that, because you'd know exactly what exactly was going on here, and it would be easier to trace. With the congressional thing, not so much, because you've got a congressman, and then you've got the congressman's aides, and you've got people like that who all could have access to it. Now, whether or not that actually is a good thing anyway, that even members of Congress have these documentations, but these are top secret documents, and Congress does, people who are supposed to be in the know do have the documents and do have security clearances and everything else and access to this. As part of the investigation, and being a journalist myself throughout my career, I have no problem with the Attorney General and her investigators subpoenaing journalists. And there really is no immunity when it comes to these matters and these issues of betrayal and these issues of treason. There is no immunity for anybody in terms of the criminal offshoots of the treason. And of course, the journalists, in all likelihood, we went through this with the Pentagon Papers story a long time ago. And those of you old enough to remember, it was basically almost the same thing, where the Pentagon Papers leaked, then they had to find out who exactly it was, whatever. And so, but in the end, the journalists themselves would not be punished. The journalists, of course, have already been exposed as being used by the leaker, and of course also of overblowing the conclusion of the report. So it's embarrassing enough that the journalists, because of their hatred of Donald Trump and because of their despising of any kind of success for President Trump and his administration, that they were more than willing to report on a document that basically had no context, and that actually, if there was a modicum of further investigation into it, they would have found that there were other stories that were related to this that would tell a different story when it comes to failure or beyond, because there was absolutely some documentation, or simply to wait to determine what we have found and what happened here as it relates to the damage that was caused. And so this was a reckless media. Whether or not it was winding up being a criminal media is another story. But that's where we really ultimately need, though, to go after the person who actually leaked the document. That person ought to be criminally punished and pounded for treason. This morning, General Dan Raising Kane, he had this amazing display during this briefing where he brought video with him. He showed that there was significant damage to these nuclear facilities. He saw it right here. Check it out. Oh, I didn't plug in my computer. I was in such a hurry. I was so excited for everything just to see you guys. I didn't plug in my computer.
Who did this and their work on the weapon. First, let me set the stage for you. There's an organization in the U.S. called the Defense Threat Reduction Agency, DTRA. DTRA does a lot of things for our nation, but DTRA is the world's leading expert on deeply buried underground targets. In 2009, a Defense Threat Reduction Agency officer was brought into a vault at an undisclosed location and briefed on something going on in Iran. For security purposes, I'm not going to share his name. He was shown some photos and some highly classified intelligence of what looked like a major construction project in the mountains of Iran. He was tasked to study this facility, work with the intelligence community to understand it, and he was soon joined by an additional teammate.
Yeah, so they found it. They went in and they completely destroyed it. And this is video he showed everybody of the bomb. And here's the problem is right now, and young Caroline's doing her briefing. And basically what this is now, after she made her statement, it's an exercise in the news media arguing with her about whether or not there was uranium that was leaked, all this kind of stuff, because you would think. Now, again, I don't want people to just simply cheerlead for something, but to take on this adversarial role and not to assume that, believe me, Israel, of all people, has no interest in overblowing the impact of the bombs on the nuclear program. It would not behoove Israel to put rose-colored glasses on and pretend nothing happened, because believe me, if it was a failure, Israel would want more. And none of this, like in the world of common sense, like none of this occurs to the people out there reporting on this. None of this really occurs to them. Like what interest exactly would the U.S. or even Israel have in pretending something happened when it didn't? Because Iran was, according to the administration, weeks away from having a nuclear bomb. Now, that may or may not be true, whatever, I don't know. But the reality is, if they were weeks away from developing this bomb and the administration knew this or believed this, what would be the interest of the administration and even of Israel to pretend they destroyed something that they didn't destroy? Because ultimately, if they didn't, you're going to find out either through Hey, look, we have a nuclear bomb and nothing happened and blah, 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 blah. So it's funny how there's no common sense applied to many of the conclusions that these individuals make in their reporting. They don't even like say, "Oh, yeah, you're right. Why would Israel and the US want to say something happened that didn't, because there's a chance that if it didn't happen, then we'd be back to a nuclear bombardment in 3 months." So again, I mean, it doesn't stand to reason. Anyway, Raising Cane had to show the idiots in the media video. They're watching it now. They're watching the bombs go off. They're watching video of the bunker busters, all 6 weapons. And this was at the Fordo. Went exactly where they were intended to go. And there's actual video of it. So at this point, the chairman brings
for a minute. You'll see inside the mission space.
Place to be. This is great video, by the way. It's being obliterated. There's a big hole.
Unlike
there.
a normal surface bomb, you won't see an impact crater because they're designed to deeply bury and then function. I know there's been a lot of questions about that. All 6 weapons at each vent at Fordo went exactly where they were intended to go. A bomb has 3
and they have video of it. And so really what you're seeing too, of course, he clearly had someone ask him, we don't see a crater. How come we don't see a crater? And he's responding, well, that's because that's not the way these bombs work. You don't see a crater. They go into the ground and then blow up. That's why they're called bunker busters, you idiot from the New York Times. Well, we don't see a bomb crater like we normally see in cartoons. Yeah, this isn't friggin' the Road Runner, all right? This is real life, and these kinds of things happen. And if you know anything about the bunker, but just look it up. Well, there was no crater there, And again, he clearly had. I mean, these guys. Can you imagine the patience that somebody like this Chairman Raising Cane has to have to respond to reporters who won't even do, and they're covering the Pentagon, right? So they're Pentagon reporters who don't know the slightest bit about how bunker busting bombs operate and how these bombs work. And you'd think that like if you're the Pentagon correspondent, you'd kind of have boned up on how these things work instead of kind of coming in after a bomb and go, I don't see a crater. It's nuts. Oh, these guys are crazy. So anyway, that's how this afternoon is beginning, with truth. Yes, and that is important, as Daniel points out, or I'm sorry, Donna points out. I'm sorry, didn't have the screen. Somebody has a screen when they put the screen in here. They watch it from 2 miles away. I got to have it right up me because I'm blind. Yeah. Go wide rather than deep is what Donna says. Exactly, Donna. You know more than the Pentagon people know. This is Common Sense Radio. This is the Allman Report on News Talk STL.
Like and subscribe to us on Rumble. News Talk STL. If you have a phone, you have a radio. Download the all-new News Talk STL app.
Love the all-new app.
And listen anytime, anywhere.
Well, ladies and gents, let me tell you something about Gemini Wealth Group. And let me tell you something that is good news for you and bad news for you. So the good news is you're going to be living longer after you retire. And the bad news is you're going to be living longer after you retire. Now, again, that happens because if you don't plan for your retirement, then actually living longer after you retire is going to be a little bit more hectic and complicated and kind of a bummer. So when you're 20, 30 years after retirement and you're trying to look for extra money in the folds of your couch, that's not fun, and that's not a fun retirement. The Gemini Wealth Group will help you achieve all of your goals of diversification, of long-term planning, of making sure everything's settled as it relates to paying your tax, the tax liabilities and your health liabilities and all that kind of stuff. What's going to be the housing situation for you? How are you going to kind of take that money and make it, not only use it, but also simultaneously make it grow? And the Gemini Wealth Group knows how to do that. If you are about to retire or even newly retired and you need a second opinion, or you don't have anybody helping you, make sure the Gemini Wealth Group can step in and show you the ropes. The GeminiWealthGroup.com, the GeminiWealthGroup.com, or call Jeff Portman directly at 314-888-0123, 314-888-0123.
It's JC's Wayback Machine. 3 big hours of great tunes from the 90s, 80s, and 70s. Plus bits and pieces that'll take you back to the best years of your past.
Album cuts, forgotten songs, and lots of little treasures.
Or a hole in your head or a whole new head. JC Corcoran, he's back.
All brought to you by the Weber Automotive Group.
It's JC's Wayback Machine. Every Saturday night, 6 to 9. On News Talk STL.
Reed's Rockets in Wright City has your fireworks. Try the Max 800 shot for a 30-minute show. Want the ultimate American celebration? Get This Is America with over 100 gigantic color bursts. Family owned and operated, Reed's caters for families with the biggest kid selection. Spend $100 or more and get a kids assortment free. Reed's Rockets, 425 West Service Road North in Wright City. Take I-70 exit 199 and look for the big red and white striped tent. Open through July 10th. ReedsRockets.com.
Reed's Rockets in Wright City has your fireworks. Try the Max 800 shot for a 30-minute show. Want the ultimate American celebration? Get This Is America with over 100 gigantic color bursts. Family owned and operated, Reed's caters for families with the biggest kid selection. Spend $100 or more and get a kids assortment free. Reed's Rockets, 425 West Service Road North in Wright City. Take I-70 exit 199 and look for the big red and white striped tent. Open through July 10th. ReedsRockets.com.
No big old corporate lib AM station telling us what to say here. Conservative talk for St. Louis. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is the Allman Report on News Talk STL. Jamie Allman here. Super happy to be with you. Ashlyn over there at the pilot controls. And there, Margaret, good afternoon, my dear. She's on the Facebook page, and she loves my shirt. And she's asking me, she's trying to figure out what the shirt says. And this is my Splash Mountain Disney shirt. And I realized, oh, Disney, what the hell? You gay? No. I love Disney. Actually, I love taking the kids to Disney World. I really do love Disney World. So it's just fun. The kids have a great time. I love Epcot Center and everything else. And so all the stuff about the gays and all, I just don't really bother with any of that. I don't really care. But I do love Disney. Even their attendance is way down. So now is probably the time to go. So anyway, they have a ride there. They have a ride. They still call it Splash Mountain. Splash Mountain is a great ride. It's like the log flume, right? And it was really cool. And when the kids and we went there, we'd wake up in the morning because we had kind of like these passes and things. And so we'd ride Splash Mountain like 100 times before noon. We just keep on going on it, and it's so much fun. The problem is Splash Mountain became kind of a thing, and I've explained this before. So sorry if you guys didn't have heard it before, and I'm repeating myself because oftentimes people have questions whenever I, if I sometimes wear this shirt because I don't have an unlimited wardrobe, so I do repeat my clothing over some time. So anyway. The problem is Splash Mountain caused controversy among all the woke ass crazies out there because it was based on the movie Song of the South. And So you had this whole idea of, these people who were kind of like, well, it's Brer Rabbit. Oh, Lord.
How do you do? Pleased to meet you. Fine, how are you? Nice to see you.
And oh, Lordy, here come the hill. And they, you know what I mean. It was kind of like they used and once you go through, by the way, Splash Mountain 100 times, this song is on your mind for a month. How do you do? And by the way, I'm going to let you hear it just for a second, and then you'll do it all day long. I'm going to send this to your brain from my...
How do you do? Hi, how are you? Fine, how are you?
And so anyway, some of them like talk black. So the characters would talk black. And it was kind of like the old days black. Oh, Lord, sir. Well, I can't give that kind of thing, which is, you're not really. And so there is truth that, you're going through it. And it's like, 2018. And it's like, here comes, oh, Lord, here you go. That kind of stuff. And it's kind of like, from the 50s and stuff. But it still is itself. It's all dramatic because it's about the, I don't even know what the hell it is. I never saw the Song of the South movie, but Brer Rabbit and all this other nonsense. And then they're getting chased and there's, I don't know. But anyway, I like it. And so what happens is you're in that log and you're going through the whole thing and it's telling a story while you're going through it. And you're hearing this music, oh, here come the froggies, that kind of thing. Oh, Lord, zuma, zuma. And it's like, okay. So anyway, apparently people found that offensive. And I didn't, but that's probably because I'm white. I don't know. But anyway, apparently people found it offensive. And so they decided they had to change everything about what was going on in that little, in that little tunnel there before you go shooting down the chute. And so they changed it. I don't even know what they changed it to. Probably something really super boring or, whatever. I didn't even bother to check. But I do know that the minute that happened, I went on the internet and bought a blue and a black one and another one too. Splash Mountain, the original Splash Mountain shirts. So that I could at some point, trigger somebody, because this is like not politically correct to have this particular Splash Mountain shirt that harkens back to the days of when all the characters were like, oh, Lordy, oh, Lord, that kind of thing. So, Princess and the Frog. Is that what it is, Ashlyn? Thank you for checking that. What is the Princess and the Frog? Is that a Disney story?
Yeah, it's a Disney movie based on a woman in Louisiana, and she gets turned into a frog.
Oh.
So, yeah.
Uh-huh. Well, that's interesting. Wouldn't it be funny if the frogs still talk like, oh, Lordy, Princess, I'm turning you into a frog. Probably not, though. That would be a rollback of what they intended. Princess and the Frog, huh?
Actually, they do have that Southern dialect, so it's not that different. I think they just made it a person of color to try to appease some people.
Oh, so the princess is black?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. Huh. It's just, sometimes you just can't keep up with these people. And so, so now the black chick gets turned into a frog. I'm not quite sure that's an advancement of anything else. I don't know. All I know is that I've got this shirt and it's fun to wear. And sometimes it does trigger people. And what's funny is it either triggers people from the fact that it's a not politically correct Splash Mountain shirt, right? It's not exactly like if I wore the what was the Cecil B. DeMille thing about the Klan or the movie. I would not wear a shirt from that part. But anyway, what's even crazier too is it has Disney on it. So other people are like, Disney World, What? I hate Disney World. So I can't win. But again, you all know me. I don't really have the problem of caring all that much about those types of things. All right, on to my initial statement about whether or not you'd ever heard the song "White Liberals Ruin Everything," and you haven't because it hasn't been written yet, and so I am in the process of writing a song. I don't know why it would be really a great song, White liberals ruin everything. Ding, 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 ding. I don't know. So, as you know, they ruin, literally everything. They ruin fantastic advancements in military action as it relates to Iran. And they ruin such things as border enforcement. They ruin girls' sports. All those kinds of things. And they also are about to ruin New York. So this is pretty crazy because New York is on its way to becoming an absolute disaster, thanks to the fact that people were mostly white people voted for this Muslim, anti-Semite, white people hating clown in New York. And it's interesting because in the end, a lot of these voters, you go to all the victory parties, everything else, all of them, there were a bunch of young white people, a bunch of young gentries, people who've gentrified neighborhoods and all that kind of stuff and now live in Harlem and all that kind of thing and think they're groovy. They voted for this trash. And what's crazy too is that ultimately what they don't know, and this is something that Matt Walsh put out on X, and he's absolutely right. And he says this. He says that I don't know what's going on with that screen there. I don't know what just happened there. Anyway, he says 40% of New York City's population is foreign born. Not just second and third generation immigrants, foreign born. 40% of New York City's population is foreign born, meaning they were not born in the United States of America and don't come from second or third generation immigrants. Almost half the city wasn't born in this country. New York City isn't an American city anymore by any reasonable definition of the term. It is a tragedy and a disgrace. Now, some people could take issue with that and say, well, I know, but isn't it great? At least they're legal or whatever. And as far as I'm concerned, yeah, if you're foreign born and legal, that's kind of the melting pot, right? But a lot of them are illegal also. And so anyway, some guy from the Bulwark decides to respond to him. And this guy is so angry that because Matt Walsh, as you know, is Irish, right? Well, you might not know, but it sounds Irish, right? He goes, this Tim Miller character, the guy this is a guy who is about 45 years old and still wears a puka shell necklace. If you want to kind of get the drift of the kind of guy he is, he's 45 years old and still wears a puka shell necklace around his neck. If you could believe that. Anyway, he says, go back to Ireland, you effing patty ass Mick. And Mick, of course, is a pejorative slur for Irish people. And that's what he said. That's how angry this guy got. And that's the other issue with white liberals is when they're not doing really stupid things and making really awful decisions, they're temper tantruming to the point where they are absolutely just out of their minds angry. And it is, and they start calling people names and everything else. Now they are going after Melania Trump's immigration status. But these are the black liberal folks. So there's plenty of idiocy to go around among black liberals, but in a lot of cases, white liberals, I mean, they've ruined city schools here in their promotion of desegregation a while back. And so for the most part, yeah, you've got some pretty dumb people like Jasmine Crockett and Bowman and people like that. But on the other end, the white liberals are terrible. And they even ruin the lives of black people, which is crazy, which they've been doing historically for a long time because they invented slavery and they denied the right to vote. Republicans had to pass the deciding vote in 1964. So they've denied blacks the right to vote. They enslaved blacks, and they continue to ruin black communities with the illegal aliens and the terrorists who are living in these communities on down the line. So, yeah, at least they've been consistent. And how black people still even embrace the Democrat Party is absolutely, totally beyond me. But someday, I guess, we'll figure it out. I got one white liberal. We're going to pick his pea brain coming up here in just a second. Good afternoon, everybody. This is the Allman Report. You're in the right place on News Talk STL.
For podcast articles and more, find us on newstalkstl.com.
In the media.
1019 and 94.1.
They lying about what's going on in America. They lying about it.
News Talk STL.
Grasser Electric, grasserelectric.com. I was just talking to a guy who is he is in a situation where he is getting his apprenticeship as an electrician. And I was like, yeah, man, once you do that, whatever, I can get you hooked up with Grasser Electric. They're really cool. Shane Grasser, and what a vibrant operation Grasser Electric is, not only in the commercial end, but also in the residential end. And these guys are amazing when it comes to resolving all your electrical problems, electrical needs, all those kinds of things. Even as a real estate agent, when something needs fixing, I'll use Grasser. I'll refer them to homeowners and things like that. That's how obviously confident I am. And knowing Shane for going on 20 years now, he supported free, common sense, conservative radio since I invented it back in 2005. And so he's always been there for me. And Sean is the one who normally comes out and resolves issues, troubleshoots things. Really super easy for him to find things. And sometimes you don't know what the problem is. You don't know really why that light is flickering. You've tried to screw in the bulb and do all this kind of stuff, but you really don't know why it keeps on flickering, everything else. They'll find the problem. Sometimes it's super easy. Usually it is. If you have a bunch of things that have been bothering you, an outlet here, I don't know whether you've ever experienced, I do. My home is like 115 years old. And I got to tell you, I can't stand it when you can't plug a plug-in anymore and it falls out. Doesn't that drive you crazy? And how long have you been dealing with it without getting it fixed finally? So if you have that on your list and you have a whole list of things, go ahead and give it to Grasser Electric, and they'll get all of it done for you in a day. It's really cool, and you'll have more time to write your novel. Everything's great. If you are in business, you need somebody for commercial electrical issues, go ahead to get a hold of my guys at grasserelectric.com. That's grasserelectric.com.
Hey, it's Vic Porcelli here with our great friend Chris Cooper from Serenity Wealth Management. Hi, Chris. How are you, Vic? I don't want to put anybody else down, but that when you go up and visit you at Serenity Wealth, your place looks like home.
So a lot of financial advisory offices, they have, the big mahogany desk or the big marble entryways and things like that. The stock market channel on the TV when you walk in the door, right? That doesn't really drive a good conversation. Good financial guidance and advice starts with a good conversation. People are nervous. People are afraid to talk about finances, right? And so you can see a little standoffish. Well, my objective is to try to have a good, casual conversation. By having those conversations about life, goals, objectives, it's what makes me understand what our financials are supposed to fund.
So if somebody does want to have a good conversation, how do they do that? How do they find you?
Our website is the best way to do that because you can get all the information you need, understand where we are, get a little bit more information, all that. SerenityWealthNow.com.
Reach out to Chris and Stacy today at SerenityWealthNow.com.
Investment advice offered through Fortis Capital Advisors, LLC.
Hey, Columbo here for Rockwood Charcoal. Rockwood is made from 100% pure Missouri oak and hickory, so you're cooking with the best and supporting local industry and a local business all at once. There's over 100 area Rockwood retailers. Find yours at rockwoodcharcoal.com.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps in the afternoon.
A new independent movement wants to deny both parties a House majority. Independent Center's senior advisor Adam Brandon explains more at 4:20.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps. Weekdays at 4 on News Talk STL.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Allman Report. Yes, indeed. Jamie Allman here, happy to be with you. And yes, I'm being I have to, because oftentimes what you need to do is you need to grab. It's kind of like when, you tag an animal, like these people who are scientists and things like that, they tag an animal. And then send the animal off into the wild. And then what happens is you then bring that animal back and study it after it has been tagged and you're tracing it and everything else. And and Mark Kaysen is that as such an animal. He is a gopher. Or some form of gopher mixed with a mouse. So I tagged him a long time ago and follow him all throughout his life and catch up with him every once in a while to just kind of check in, download parts of his brain, and then send him back out again. And so I'm really pleased to have Mark Kaysen checking into the lab today. How are you, my friend?
I've been very careful to keep that tag protected because I didn't want any problems in this experiment that you've been running for decades.
Yes, and we're learning a lot about the white liberal disaster. And you have been the information we've been able to obtain from studying you has been very, very helpful to our task of reclaiming America and ultimately deporting you. So that'll be all good.
And I've begged you to get me deported.
Where would you
Salvador.
go?
I begged for
to
it.
El Salvador.
And you keep saying you're going to do it. You never do it, but that's okay.
Well, what's crazy though is thanks to the power of the world and the United States of America. El Salvador is now a hotspot for people who surf, and as I understand it, allegedly, back in the day, you were a surfer.
Well, I was an extremely good surfer and water skier, both.
Wow, that's crazy, man.
Both.
All right, so where have you been, first of all? Sometimes you'll text me and whatever, and you thought, the world was falling apart when the bombing happened. But what are you making of all these other things that are going on where the Democrat Party just seems to be imploding on every level, embracing every wrong thing? I mean, now defending Iran. They've been defending all these criminal illegal aliens. They're defending girls and boys sports. You're defending government waste by in the past attacking Elon Musk, and now you're supporting a guy in New York who is almost destined to drive that city into the ground. You don't support that guy, do you?
He's a democratic socialist. Right, of course.
Oh, you mean
what would?
Why
would have a problem with Bernie?
Well, okay, it's not Bernie. I'm talking about this.
I know. No. I know who you're talking about. I'm just saying he's a democratic socialist.
Yeah, but
he's not a socialist.
Right, but man, do you know what he stands for? I mean, do you know that he threatened to arrest Netanyahu if he walks into New York? Did you know that he wants to government controlled grocery stores? Did you know he was an anti-Semite?
Well, that's not true at all.
Yes, it is.
That is absolutely not true. I knew you were headed there. That is just not true.
Okay, and what basis? And I'm not saying like, this isn't a when did you stop beating your wife question, but have you heard what's come out of his mouth about Israel and Zionists and everything else?
Yeah, well, first of all, I've heard it. And secondly, if he were an anti-Semite, he would not get elected to dog catcher in New York. So really, relax.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. A lot of Jewish groups are saying that Jews need to leave New York immediately if this guy gets elected mayor.
Yeah, there are people who get hysterical. That's true.
Yeah, I mean, what I'm saying is, I mean, I don't understand what kind of world you guys are, or I'm sorry, not world necessarily. What kind of United States of America that you guys are envisioning? I mean, I don't understand why you're resisting all of the great things that are being accomplished by the Trump administration, by the America First movement, with the help of a lot of people who have otherwise voted Democrat before and don't vote Democrat anymore. But you guys resist every single thing. I don't get it.
Yeah, well, I knew eventually you'd get around to saying that name, Trump, because let me say this. The neo-Nazi party in this country that is currently running the White House is absolutely catastrophic. And if you heard that idiotic press conference this morning, which then Donald came back and said, the best press conference in the history of America. You know, it's all very sad. The United States rearranged some rocks on a mountain, and everybody thinks
the general showed Mark. The general showed video of total destruction.
And you know
the video doesn't lie. We saw the video.
Yeah, they rearranged some rocks on the mountain.
No,
the intelligence.
Okay, we saw the
United
video.
States.
We saw. One thing you continue to say also,
Right.
but we saw the video. The video is very clear. This idea about neo-Nazis is so interesting. How you can call somebody a neo-Nazi with, I'm talking about zero proof, and at the same time defend a guy who is obviously an anti-Semite, this mayoral candidate. He absolutely is. And I just would defer to the opinions of Jews and not you. So,
I'm a Jew too.
So on what?
You know,
Okay. On what basis do you say that this is a neo-Nazi administration? I want facts about because you support. I know you support neo-Nazis because you support them over in Ukraine because that's what they are. Half the fighting force.
You know that's not true.
No, they're absolute neo-Nazis. So
that's a Putin talking point. That's okay.
I've seen the pictures. Okay, you guys ignore obvious visuals. These guys are carrying swastikas and everything else over there, and you're supporting sending billions of dollars over there. So again, I want to know, on what basis do you use the term neo-Nazi? And we shouldn't have to do this because if you just argued policy instead of throwing out these kinds of cannonballs, we'd probably make some progress. But instead, I got to go back and sit there and correct you on the neo-Nazi thing.
Okay, so the ICE SS group is out on the streets with masks, no badges, picking up people. 70% of the people they picked up and deported have done nothing wrong. That was on all the programs this morning. But that 70% number has been out there for months.
When you're here illegally, you've done something wrong. When you're here illegally, you've done something wrong. So that idea that the 70% have done nothing wrong is completely and totally false. So, so let me ask you this though. ICE, I'm curious about how liberals are so triggered by masks, except for the fact that you guys were addicted to them during COVID, and you wore them while you burned cities down and peed all over everything up in New York City, and still wear them when you're marching around harassing people and everything else. So you're really not that triggered by masks, apparently, because clearly a terrorist that you love can wear them.
Yeah, my guess is that the Constitution allows peeing. So, all that peeing talk, I would, not worry about.
I'm talking about the masks.
And I know you started with the peeing, okay? So I just am responding to it. And listen, I mean, you and I are sitting here talking about that, which is ridiculous, but it's nothing compared to the United States getting on the television and talking about people being effing crazy. So, and he didn't say
okay.
F.
No, I like that. I want more of that, actually. I really do.
I'm sure
I think
do.
it's about time we had authentic politicians and people who told it like it was, instead of the uniparty and the political structure all trying to put the wool over our eyes and whisper sweet nothings to us. So I'm more than happy to have a president F-bombing. The only problem is sometimes I'm used to having to vet videos from all these idiot podcasters who think that they have to cuss all the time. But I don't really want to have to worry about President Trump, sometimes when I want to play a video of him.
You and I know that we don't talk that way on the radio or anywhere, like, except for off the air. Yeah, off the air is fine.
Yeah.
But on the air, in front of cameras?
Oh, it's about time. And I would think that you would agree with him, especially since, a ceasefire was called, and then Israel and Iran both summarily started firing off bombs. When he was saying that, he was correct in what he was saying. I'm surprised that you didn't agree with him.
Well, he wasn't correct. He was just a liar, like he always is, because there was no ceasefire until the Israelis and the Iranians decided to do it.
Yeah, of course. And Daddy handled it. Daddy was the one who made it happen. Real quickly, because I don't have much time left. When you're not teaching, what are you doing when you're not teaching?
I'm about to walk into Black Studies at Washington University, where we are planning things to really destroy your life, because you're white.
That's a really great way to have people embrace Black Studies, is by saying that Black Studies is people getting together to figure out how to ruin white people's lives. That's really
so
great.
in this case, I was slightly joking.
Black Studies.
Let's say this.
Yeah.
We are dealing with issues that you'll think is indoctrination, but which we think is diversity and inclusion. But let me just since you're in a rush and I'm in a rush.
I'm in a real rush now.
Okay, so let's end by saying this. Anybody in the audience wants to go out and find an article from a man about 2006. The guy's name is Scott Sagan. And he was a hawk.
We'll get right on that. I'll check with the weatherman to when hell is going to freeze over.
So
Mark
funny.
Kaysen, have a great day.
Is your retirement income at risk if you or your spouse needs nursing home or in-home care? Hi, I'm Eric Robert, Director of Investments with the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel and host of On the Money, Saturday mornings at 9 on News Talk STL 1019. The cost of long-term care is one of the biggest risks in retirement planning. For many retirees, a single nursing home stay can cause a significant reduction in assets that can permanently reduce your retirement income. Fortunately, there are affordable and flexible options available today that can help you manage the cost of long-term care. Our team can help you address the risks relevant to your retirement, including long-term care. To schedule your free retirement plan consultation, go to clearpathinvesting.com. That's clearpathinvesting.com, or call us at 636-695-2650. That's clearpathinvesting.com or 636-695-2650. Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member SIPC and NYSE.
Looking for an underwater adventure or a scaly new friend? Dive into Tropical World Pets on Watson Road. For 32 years, this family-owned wonderland has been St. Louis's go-to destination for all things aquatic and reptilian. With over 7,000 square feet of aquariums, we're home to the area's largest selection of freshwater fish, including rare cichlids you won't find anywhere else. But that's not all. We've got tarantulas, snakes, and lizards galore. Tropical World Pets, 314-849-4020, or visit twpstl.com.
You and I might have something in common, back pain. I can tell you where I go for help, Esquire Sports Medicine, the spine of St. Louis. They can put athletes back on the field so they can clearly help us. Esquire Sports Medicine, hands-on chiropractic help on Big Bend, just north of Highway 40, 314-644-0885, EsquireSportsMedicine.com, EsquireSportsMedicine.com.
KLDY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNVS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Jason Walker. Supreme Court says states can block the biggest abortion provider in the country, Planned Parenthood, from receiving Medicaid money for abortions without facing lawsuits from patients. Planned Parenthood is complaining that it might hinder access to certain kinds of care. South Carolina argued no public money should ever go to Planned Parenthood, even if it's not paying for abortions. Also at townhall.com, Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth and Joint Chiefs Chairman General Dan Kane describing in detail the study and execution of the bombing mission that hit 3 Iranian nuclear sites.
Because of decisive military action, President Trump created the conditions to end the war, decimating, choose your word, obliterating, destroying Iran's nuclear capabilities.
Hegseth accused the news media of hating Donald Trump and irresponsibly reporting on a preliminary assessment about the impact of the strikes on Iran.
Let's take half-truths, spun information, leaked information, and then spin it in every way we can to try to cause doubt.
General Kane says the intelligence community will assess the operation in Iran, but he did provide what the Pentagon has concluded about the mission.
First, that the weapons were built, tested, and loaded properly. 2, the weapons were released on speed and on parameters. 3, the weapons all guided to their intended targets and to their intended aim points. 4, the weapons functioned as designed, meaning they exploded.
Iran's supreme leader is speaking out. He claims Tehran achieved victory over the Israelis as well as the United States. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Hey, it's Mike Rohn. If I have a choice, I like to do business with companies that actually stand for something. That's why I switched from Verizon to Pure Talk. No offense to Verizon, I'm sure they stand for something. I just don't know what it is. Pure Talk, on the other hand, is a veteran-owned company that supports our military in a big way, and I appreciate that. Yeah, I also appreciate unlimited talk and text and plenty of data for half the cost of the big guys, and I do like being on America's most dependable 5G network for just $20 a month. But what I really appreciate is no contract, no cancellation fees, and Pure Talk's commitment to handle all their customer service in this country. I saw it for myself. I went to Georgia, I got a tour of their headquarters, I met their CEO, and I talked to the same customer service folks that you'll talk to when you dial pound 250 and say keyword micro. Switch today and save 50% off your first month when you dial pound 250 and say keyword micro. Pure Talk, a wireless company that actually stands.
This hour of News Talk STL brought to you by Chris Cooper and Serenity Wealth Management. Discover little-known strategies that could be the difference between choosing the care you deserve or having someone else decide it for you. Get a free copy of Chris's book at serenityltc.com. From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
Still too hot out there. The high temperature today in the mid-90s, about 95, 96 degrees, with that heat index up to 103 at the hottest. We might see an isolated shower this afternoon, but we do not expect much rain. Now, that changes a little bit tomorrow with a 40% chance of a shower or thunderstorm in the afternoon tomorrow. With the increase in cloudiness, slightly cooler temperatures tomorrow and daily rain chances through the weekend. I'm KMOV First Alert meteorologist Kent Gerhardt.
Tony Colombo here for the Farmers Co-op Old Town Country Store in Old Town St. Peters, where they have a huge selection of products and services for your yard and home, including a full line of lawn and garden products, a full line of products for animal care, and that includes anything from livestock to the family dog or cat. They'll fill any size propane tank for about half the price of a new one, and so much more. Visit them in St. Peters on 2nd Street, right behind the QT at 70 and Mid-Rivers Mall Drive, and check out all their products and services at oldtowncountrystore.com. Tony Colombo here for All Solutions Pest Control, the team Christine and I trust to protect our home. We've used multiple services at multiple homes over the years, and I can tell you from all that experience, All Solutions is second to none. If you have a pest problem of any kind, or more importantly, just want to prevent a problem, All Solutions is the team to call. Learn more and take advantage of their incredible $67 introductory offer right now at allsolutionspestcontrol.com.
If a pest-free home is your goal, call All Solutions Pest Control.
Hi, Kirk Hilsinger here, and I'm the new chairman of the St. Louis Republican Central Committee. I invite you to our meetings that take place the first Thursday of every month at 3710 Hampton Avenue. You can stay connected with us to learn more about how you can get involved, make your voice heard, and contribute to our shared goals. Together, we can make a difference in the city of St. Louis and the state of Missouri. For more info, visit our new website at stl-gop.com. That's stl-gop.com.
Paid for by St. Louis City Republican PAC. Curtis Farber, Treasurer.
Since 1995, Renewal by Anderson has helped St. Louis homeowners upgrade with windows and doors. Now it's our 30th anniversary sale. You'll get $1,995 off every project. No gimmicks, real savings, and the nation's best warranty. The offer ends June 30th, so you don't want to wait. There are some restrictions. Visit rbastl.com. Renewal by Anderson. Superior products, exceptional service.
St. Louis's place to talk.
Freedom of speech is one of the anchors of our society.
News Talk STL.
Ladies and gentlemen, here is what is a big zero for you that benefits you, and that is the bagel loan. Stewart's American Mortgage Company, Stewart's American Mortgage, Stewart's AMC.com. That is where Stewart, and that is where all of my friends, Jordan, all of them are toiling away, making sure that when you're home buying, when you are refining, and when you are debt consolidating, that you are not paying zilch. And this is what it's like when you're buying a home. I use Jordan in all of my real estate deals, or most of them at least. He's a great guy, will always come through on the zero appraisal fees, zero lending fees. He's not going to charge people for credit pulls. And oftentimes, most of the time, it's zero closing costs, period. So I tell stories to people all the time. Hey, if you don't have a pre-approval letter, or if you're not ready to rock and roll yet and you need somebody to talk to Jordan. Just Google the bagel loan, but I always have his number handy for him, and you can get a hold of him right away and make sure that you're pre-approved to buy a home, so you're ready to rock and roll to make that offer, and you also have the confidence that you are not going to have any closing costs. In one case, Debbie, my client, he saved her $6,000, and what $6,000 can do for you in confidence of making a better deal, a better offer on the home, maybe just up at about $5,000 or whatever, or for when you move in and you can make some home improvements and things like that with that extra money that you didn't have to spend on the closing. Google the bagel loan. Stewart and Jordan and Stewart'sAMC.com, strong supporters of free, common sense, conservative radio. Also, people, when it comes to refining and debt consolidation, they will zero you out as well on that, and you will not be paying what the other people are charging you. It's not really a secret. It's all about doing volume. Because they're so popular, they can do it, and they do this all with the lowest interest rates you're going to find. Google the bagel loan. Go ahead, Google the bagel loan.
This hour of the Allman Report brought to you by Proctor Drapery Blinds and Shutters. Proctor, spelled like doctor. ProctorDrapery.com.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is the Allman Report on News Talk STL. Jamie Allman, super happy to be with you. And ladies and gentlemen, as it usually is, it's always a great day when Rick Pogue is able to stop in, ladies and gentlemen, to the show.
Now this nation that I love is falling under attack. A mighty sucker punch came flying in from
Hey, brother man. Congratulations on the brand new grandbaby and Evelyn. Oh, what a sweet name too, brother. Love it.
Thank you. Yes. God bless America.
No doubt.
Got grandbaby number 3 yesterday morning. They're all girls so far, which is weird because I was a boy maker, but she's a beautiful little thing and quite the blessing because my daughter and her husband, Francesca and Austin, have been, they've been having problems getting pregnant and having a baby. And IVF came along, and this is why I support IVF, because it is an absolute blessing to be able to do that.
Well, I know you and I have talked about this before, because when we were over there at the bar in Clayton and we were hanging out, I asked you groups of individuals because my daughter is also venturing into that as well. And I am a strong supporter of IVF. Donald Trump is too, by the way, contrary to what all these other people are claiming. And I don't support individuals who are trying to make it out to be it's some kind of anti-life operation or what have you. And the reality is, I think it's totally pro-life. Unfortunately, like the Pope and the Catholic Church, and I'm Catholic, they don't really believe in it, but of course, I don't care. So, and I just as an aside, I don't think I told you this. So I'm working actually with, when we go into fall session in Missouri, I'm working with a Democrat senator and a Republican senator, and I'll be testifying on behalf of a bill in the fall that will make sure that IVF is protected from the brand new Missouri abortion law, because there are some people who are attempting to kind of roll that in to the abortion question and kind of align it with the abortion issue. What happened in Alabama is scary for a lot of people, because they determined that if you discarded, for instance, one of the eggs, you're killing somebody. It's homicide, which I think is excessive. And so I'm going to be promoting this bill and testifying for it to make sure that IVF is protected from the abortion law here in Missouri.
Well, I'm glad to hear that, Jamie. But there's a lot of weeds you can get into with this topic. When you get into freezing embryos and stuff, it freaks a lot of people out. It freaks people out of my own family.
Yeah,
and I understand that. I do understand that. But one thing I also understand is we are not more intelligent than God is. And when He enables us to come up with something like this to provide our families with babies that they wouldn't be able to normally have, and they're healthy babies and they're normal and they have souls. They're human beings, just like the rest of us. It really opens your eyes once you've been through the procedure and you actually understand it a lot more. It's not a black and white issue. It's plain and simple.
No, it's not. I mean, I think for a lot of people who have the luxury of kind of having it as a black and white issue, is great. That's what happens a lot. People kind of like don't have to deal with it, so they feel like they can be that person who's just going to kind of like opine on it, even though it will affect. It's really, a lot of families are dependent on it, and it is really super important. So I'm glad you brought that up, because I've been meaning to talk about it, and then just remembered. Yeah, I think when we had that conversation at Carbon, you let me know about the your loved ones and the IVF. So yeah, I mean, again, I'm not saying that people who are against it are somehow evil or wrong or what have you. I just am saying that I think that we should make every opportunity to make sure people who need to do it as their only option for having children, who supposedly we like, right? To allow them to do that,
Yeah. Well, every situation is not an up or down situation. It's not that simple. It's not black and white. It's not yes or no. And I agree with that. And I think the more we educate people and they let them think for themselves, I think the more I'm fine with regulating it. I got no problem with that at all, depending on what those regulations are. But I think it's an absolute blessing to humankind to be able to do that.
Yeah,
that's just my thought.
And let's not forget that even when it comes to abortion, there are people who are kind of making calculations all the time. So let's pretend like if you're really against abortion, right? You'd be against it, period, no matter what, at any level. But instead, what happens is we have a lot of people, conservatives, good people, whatever, who are saying, well, you can have abortion up to this period of time. You know what I mean? So everybody's always making calculations one way or the other. So they must recognize that there are certain nuances and things like that. Even some of the most pro-life people do. So we'll see. But I'm glad it's an issue, and I guarantee you, it's one of those things where, when I brought it up, I didn't know what any of you guys. I think there were about 5 of us there. I didn't know what any of you guys were going to say. And so then it turns out that pretty much everybody in that group had some experience with IVF, and you'd never know it if you didn't bring it up,
No, that's a fantastic point. It touches everybody's lives, much like, the topic of cancer. You start talking about cancer, things like this touch everybody's lives. And I just want people to be open to it and be willing to have an open discussion about it.
Yeah.
That's really all.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt.
How much has happened the last week since we talked, man?
I know.
I mean, Donald Trump sets Iran's nuclear program back, 10 years or a couple months if you ask CNN. New York goes full socialist. I mean, they didn't learn a damn thing on 9/11, did they? It just blows my mind.
Golly, I know. It's hard to believe that. And here you have the Democrat Party, which is, I mean, again, I really don't. I'm not a person. I know people say, well, we need 2 parties. But I'm not really someone who is interested in the preservation and the future of the Democrat Party. If they go the way of the Whigs, that's going to be their problem. But I just can't figure out how these people in the Democrat Party are embracing pretty much on down the line just awful things. It confounds me.
It really does. And the guy, he just goes, all he has to do is go out there and say, look, free busing, free this, free, what's his name? Zoran or Zoran Hamdani or
Moron.
something. I'll tell you this. Well, I'm sure it's because all the free stuff he's offering. Okay.
Yeah.
But I can tell you this, and I know you know this better than I do. Democrat Party is freaking out right now because this is not the direction they want to go in. And they have their AOCs and their crazy people at the top, but the establishment Democrat Party, who knows they're never going to win another frickin' election until they move to the center, they're scared to death right now.
Yeah, and if I had any advice to give anybody who feels disenchanted, and here's the problem is none of them are. There are a lot of people who just aren't, who have their egos just will not allow them to change their mind and vote for Trump. And there are some people who did, and that's fine. And there might have been some people who secretly voted for him in the hope that the Democrat Party, much like the Republican Party had to do, would necessarily almost die and only to be in need of being revived by a hero like Trump. So they'd have to find their hero and do it. Maybe the fact that they lost this election could be the best thing that ever happened to them, but they don't seem to be capitalizing on that at all. And so I would suggest to a Democrat who's disenchanted, and I'm like, well, you got to figure out a way to either formulate a different party or do whatever and let the Democrat Party go the way of the Whigs, and you guys have some more a different kind of party, because they're not going to represent you. And if you're too stupid to realize Trump represents you, then you're going to have to come up with something else.
Totally agree. And if you think back 10 years or so, 8 or 10 years, Jamie, it wasn't that long ago, the Republican Party was in total disarray and in need of leadership. because we were losing elections because we couldn't change our platform. They didn't reflect what we really wanted, the constituents. And then along comes Donald Trump and blows the whole thing up and takes command of the Republican Party. So my point there is, if I were a Democrat, my first goal would be to take my party back. That's what you got to do. We're a two-party system, and I believe in having two healthy parties. I really do. I think you can have three or four. There are parties like the Green Party that will never ever win an election, but they still think they can. Yeah. And that's fine.
Right.
But we're basically a two-party system, and I do believe, as loony as the Democrats are, I think it's healthy to have a two-party system and have two parties with opposing views and hash it out, and the best ideas win. I still believe in that. If I were a Democrat, I'd be trying to take my party back the way the Republicans took our party back not so long ago with Donald Trump.
Yeah, well, and remember too, and that's a great point, Rick. Remember too that ultimately there was a decision to make, and that was, okay, should President Trump run as an independent, or should we just go ahead and maintain the bones and the structure of a party that we helped build and just fumigate it of the people that were tarnishing it and almost destroying it? And just because there's no reason to, if your house is in ill repair, the answer is not just to move to another house. The answer is to repair the house. And so I think we made the right decision there with President Trump staying Republican, but then we had to make the necessary changes.
Yes, we absolutely made the right decision. The closest an independent ever came to winning on a national level the presidential election was Ross Perot in 1992. And what did he get, 19%? Had he not wigged out and come back, he probably could have got 25%. Who knows? Could have won. Well, I don't believe we're going to see that again. At least not for a long time. So if the Republican Party had decided to go independent, if Donald had gone independent, it'd have been, that would have been the next Ross Perot moment, but I don't know that it would have been enough.
No, I don't
really
either.
Don't think it would have been enough. Democrats would have come out on top again, just like when Ross Perot ran. That's the effect it had. We did the right thing, taking our party back. I remember people like Glenn Beck in 2015 and 16 freaking out. Oh my God, he's a populist.
Oh yeah.
Populism's horrible. I get all that. Okay. Sometimes populism's better than what you freaking got though.
Yeah,
and
man.
That's where we were. Right. So I'm okay with a Donald Trump disruptor, populist president for 8 years. Bring it on. We have got to fix our problems in this country before we lose our country.
I know it's not very grown up of me, but I still am bitter about all those people who in our camp who literally crusaded to kill off Donald Trump's chances. I wish I could get over it, but I can't. It's kind of like how I still can't get over the Revolutionary War, so I just can't embrace Britain. I got to grow up.
No, I agree. And you got to forgive, but not forget.
Right, exactly.
You never forget the people that did that because they did it for a reason. But I agree.
Yeah, and then they pretend that it never happened. So that's the worst part of it is they kind of come in and act like they never said that. It's kind of like, I get it. I'm glad you're kind of on our side now, but don't act like you minted the Make America Great Again movement. It's like crazy.
Absolutely, brother. I'm totally with you.
Yeah, man. Hey, I noticed, I don't know, I know you drive that big old truck and I drive a Jeep pretty much all over God's green earth doing real estate. I'm so happy. I just noticed the other day gas prices dipped even a couple more cents a gallon. And I remember being out in California where my son lives in San Diego, and they were paying like $5.60 a gallon. And now, because of the new gas tax, it's going to go up another 65 cents there in California. Crazy.
Yeah. I mean, you want to talk about California? I feel so sorry for all the good red people in Northern California because they are literally being held hostage by the crazies in San Diego and LA and those all around there. It is so sad to see. California, what do they have? The 5th or 6th largest economy in the world.
Yeah.
And they still spin themselves into oblivion. You know, at what point is that state going to wake up and go, we're done. We're done with it. I feel so bad for all those people, because I took a drive a few years ago through Northern California to go visit a plant. All I saw were Trump signs everywhere.
Yeah.
Everywhere. And I'm talking the entire northern part of California. And all I could do is, these poor people.
Yeah, I mean,
You know,
even if you go up to Sacramento, the capital, obviously, but Sacramento and that area going north, there's a lot of red up there, man. I'm telling you, it's.
Oh yeah.
Well, and California gave us Nixon, California gave us Reagan, California gave us Jarvis, the tax fighter. It's on down the line. It's a great state, man. We just need to bring back those gold rush Republicans.
Yes, absolutely. And speaking of states spinning out of control, I hope to God J.B. Pritzker runs for president. I hope AOC runs for president. I hope all those crazy people run for president, because it only helps us.
Yeah, that's true. But then, if Pritzker runs for president, let's say he becomes president. Then I know. But then let's say he dies. Well, then we got to come up with a piano case to bury him in, just like they did Howard Taft. So
that's great. That's hilarious. Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know. I don't get too morbid. We could always put him in a sub and send him
I know.
look at the Titanic.
But it is true. William Howard Taft was actually buried in a piano case, supposedly.
I heard that. Yeah, he was over 300 pounds. Right?
Yeah. I don't want to fat shame anybody.
There's one record Pritzker could break.
Right, exactly. Aside from the White House chairs. Oh, come on, people. Stop being so mean to a piece. All right, man. Well, listen, it's great to see you. And I was just saying yesterday, too, and I know you were busy with the baby, but I love the name Evelyn, because I love how a lot of young people are choosing kind of these old school names for their babies now. And Evelyn, is totally old school, vintage name.
It is, and I appreciate you bringing that up. My kids, you and I have discussed this before. I was a single dad for 4.5 years with 4 little kids.
Yeah.
So I didn't date much, as you can imagine. But they're all my kids are born again Christians, and one of them even became a pastor.
Oh wow!
So my kids are very grounded in God's word, and that's where this comes from. You'll see a lot of those biblical names in my family.
Oh, that's right. I forgot Evelyn is an Old Testament name. That's right. Yeah. Very cool. Judith, Evelyn, awesome. All right, brother. Rachel. All right, man. Listen, great talking to you. Is somebody honking at you? Because I don't like that, man.
No.
Okay.
No, my car was idling and it died. I had to restart it.
Oh, okay. Okay, I was about to say, because if you want me to come out there and kick their butts, I will. I don't like people honking at people.
No. I got the black car today, so I can outrun them.
All right, buddy. Good talking to you, man.
All right, brother.
Okay.
Love you.
I love you too. That is the great Rick Pogue. Yeah, it's weird because I live kind of next to kind of a busy street. And Ashley, do you honk your horn? Do you use your horn?
No, usually I don't.
I don't either. I really, as much as you guys might think like I'm some kind of, gunslinger or probably whatever, that kind of thing, I really am very timid for the most part on certain things. And I just can't honk at people. I think it's rude. Now I have, I know, even people who sit there and I know, I'm sitting behind them at a red light. And I know they're on their phones and they're not moving, and it's getting frustrating. But then I give them a little more time because eventually even the rudest, most self-absorbed people are going to come to life. And so I don't really. So anyway, I'm sitting out there near the pool or whatever. I'm hearing people honking at people all the time at these intersections. I don't know. I'm when people honk at me, I get very, very upset. So, anyway, that's why I was if somebody was honking at, Rick, I was going to, leave the studio, come out there and beat the A. All right, people, man, this Jamal Bowman dude, he is cray. and you should hear what he has to say coming up. This is the Allman Report on News Talk STL.
No one told me about her, the way she lied.
This is News Talk STL at 1019 991 HD3 and newstalkstl.com.
Sorry. I think we should be able to have a civil conversation.
The news and talk that matters to St. Louis.
This conversation has completely made me crazy.
This is complete insanity.
News Talk STL.
Oh, the Window World window, widely recognized around the world of windows as the #1 selling window, and an awesome window because it does have the Good Housekeeping seal of approval, and Qualified Remodeler magazine ranking it #1, numero uno. And man, it's a great window. And you talk about windows that are thermally superior to all the other windows out there. The Window World window is, and it is the best, and it is simply the best for less. 314-993-1800. It's a strong window. And so when you use it as a replacement window, the chances are 100% that you're not going to have to replace the window again. And it's going to preserve the value of your home. It's going to preserve your heating and your cooling bills because it's keeping everything tight and cozy. And it's not going to break easily, if at all. In fact, when you have these great people coming out to your house, which is a free estimate, whatever else, all you have to do is ask them or dare them to stand on the window right in front of you, and I guarantee you it will not break. I've seen that not happen myself with my very own eyes, and so that is the promise of the Window World window. Simply the best for less, the preferred window of the St. Louis Blues. 314-993-1800. And don't forget about their BBB rating. They are absolutely numero uno with the BBB. And they're offering 36 months, same as cash financing with approved credit for you, too. So you can finance these windows as well. 314-993-1800, 314-993-1800. Simply the best for less. Window World.
Ready for instant curb appeal that comes with a 25-year transferable warranty? Call Rhino Shield today. We do brick, block, stucco, asbestos, aluminum, steel, cedar, and more. Over the past 20 years, we've done thousands of homes, businesses, churches, schools, condos, parking garages, large metal buildings, and strip malls, from Champaign to the Lake of the Ozarks. We do flat and sloped metal roofs to extend their lives too. Proud to be veteran-owned and manufactured in the good old USA, so we're tariff-free. We're exceeding expectations every day. Evaluations are free. A+ rated with the BBB and a lot of 5-star Google reviews. Call 877-25-RHINO, 877-25-RHINO, or 877-25rhino.com. See what we did there? Genius. Tell them, ladies.
Don't hate, don't Rhino, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
Success. It's discipline. It's teamwork. It's the drive and passion inside of us that comes before all recognition. It's the best in each of us, made better by the best in all of us. Whatever success looks like to you, Stifel is invested in yours. That's why Stifel is one of the fastest growing global wealth management firms in the country. So whether you're an advisor or an investor, choose Stifel, where success meets success. Stifel Nicholas & Company Incorporated, member SIPC and NYSE.
All the information I need on the drive to work.
Mike Ferguson in the morning. I keep it on throughout the day, whether it's local, national, or something big that's happening overseas.
News, analysis, and opinion.
St. Louis is #1 for conservative talk.
News Talk STL.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is the Allman Report on News Talk STL. Jamie Allman here. Happy to see you. And good old, well, kind of like as recent as it gets, little Aretha, right? Ashlyn? Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you know Aretha Franklin refused to fly in airplanes. Yeah, she was scared to fly. So every to see her in concert was a great thing, but she didn't tour a whole lot because she basically had to be in a bus all the time, so she didn't get everywhere. But man, what a talent there. All right. This is Jamal Bowman. This is the guy that pulled that fire alarm, in the Capitol. And, I listen, I'm no expert on what constitutes a man or what makes a man attractive or whatever. But I got to imagine that Jamal Bowman whining and crying like some victim-y baby cannot possibly be attractive to any woman, black or white. I mean, it's like, dude, grown-ass men who whine all the time about how they have it so bad, and especially grown-ass men who whine all the time because they have it so bad because they happen to be black or they happen to be white or whatever. You don't hear too much of that, though. But nonetheless, it's like, really, it's such a not a good look. And I can't. And this guy goes on this CNN panel, and it winds up being some kind of therapy session for this guy. And like it's some kind of like group session, like everybody's cross-legged on the floor. It winds up being. And again, before I play this for you, I do understand that the experience for some black people is an experience that white people will never understand. Like they'll never get it. They'll never understand what it's like to have people who are racist or whatever hurt you or harm you. I mean, they'll never understand. But I think that back in the day, that might have been the case. I think now you've noticed that most people, a lot of people have to actually invent racism where it's not. So they have to claim, oh, I found a noose in my locker. It's like that never happens. Or I was beaten by some guys with a Trump hat on. That didn't happen. The Jesse Smollett stuff. But I mean, I think that in some cases it can be tough. And I think we probably should, acknowledge that for a black person in America. I get it sometimes. But it's not this tough.
I'm a black man in America. The reason why heart disease.
I'm white. I can't comment.
Listen to what I'm saying.
So
the reason why heart disease and cancer and obesity and diabetes are bigger in the black community is because of the stress we carry from having to deal with being called the N-word directly or indirectly every day.
Yeah. Really? And I love the fact that he adds that he's being called the N-word indirectly. So I really don't know what that means, but for those of us out there having to live amidst the likes of Jamal Bowman, who has the chip on his shoulder that is shaped like the Rock of Gibraltar, you never know, right? If your definition of oppression is being called directly or indirectly the N-word, like there's nowhere to go. Like, how do I know if I'm calling you the N-word indirectly? You just called me the N-word indirectly. I'm like, how that, how it happened. I'm like, okay, whatever.
If your colleagues would listen and try to learn and engage and grow and stop being so hateful, we could have a better country.
Jamal,
but unfortunately, we're still here.
Jamal, it's coming from one. Jamal,
and listen to this guy. This is a white liberal. This is where, this is everything that's wrong with the white liberal response to the kind of nonsense that's coming out of Jamal Bowman. This guy's trying to be even-handed, but instead of just basically saying, dude, you're messed up, he turns this into a therapy session.
I feel your passion, and I understand where you're coming from. Sincerely, I really, really do. It happens on both sides, Jamal. You might think it happens more on your side, Jamal. When I leave the show, Jamal, you should see my Twitter feed.
And they're acquitted. Rodney King, Abner Louima, Eric Gardner, Trayvon Martin, black cops in Memphis.
And here's this guy. He still has to go back into the grab bag and bring out Trayvon Martin, who was killed by a Hispanic dude. Come on.
It's not the same, and I don't want to.
It's not. Yeah. This guy, dude. You're a grown man. What are you doing? Why are you doing this on CNN right now?
Qualify or quantify pain. That's not what I'm talking about. Everyone goes through pain. But the racism in this country is a disease that will destroy us.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. I'm sure Jamal is going to be greeted at home. Honey, that was so sexy. You being a whiny little baby on CNN. I really liked it how you explained away all of your problems and all of your shortcomings. I love how you blamed it on white people. I really, really appreciated that. Now come inside. I'm seriously, that's like not going to happen, Jamal. It's like whatever thoughts that she had, she's like, I think I'm going to go get my hair done right about the time Jamal comes home. All right. That's enough of that. This is the Allman Report on News Talk STL. Happy Thursday to all of you. This week's flying by. This is the Allman Report, 101.9 and 94.1. It's Common Sense Radio.
You be a vision in white. How to get your pants so tight. Don't know what you're doing, but you must.
News, analysis, opinion.
Federal agents are being attacked in the city of Los Angeles.
We have to get more people involved. We're not going to let our country be torn apart.
101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Ladies and gentlemen, I want to let you know about Hanson's Tree Service, and man, have they been busy. And I also, as you know, it's not just the trees that are down. Hanson's Tree Service does a great job getting those trees taken care of and getting down the dead trees as well for you at a great price. And they finance it for you as well, which is even better and more convenient as well for those of you who need that. That's awesome. But throughout the last couple of months of some of the really bad storms that we've had, everything else, if your trees didn't come down, it might have been revealed that they are stressed. They might, and clearly, even if they did not come down, you're still going to have trees that have been stressed by not only that bad winter we had, but also the wind and also all that kind of stuff that all adds to a tree having trouble, even if you can't see it right off the bat. So make sure you have Jesse and the team come out. Check out about the health of your trees. I got to do that again because for some reason I've got this beautiful tree, but it's dropping leaves. And I think I know what that means. And I don't like it. And so they'll take care of your trees. Trees still do need to have care, tender loving care, fertilization, all that kind of stuff. And don't forget too about the mulch varieties they have. I mean, I know the summer's flying by right now, but there's still time for you to get the mulch on, and they've got all kinds of colors available for you. And I'm talking about colors in terms of the red and the black and the brown, everything else, all kinds of different cuts of the mulch, which sometimes people like that thinner kind. Some people like the thicker, rockier kind. Either way, they'll deliver it to your home, and you can spread it to your heart's delight all over your beautiful yard. It's Hanson's Tree Service, total yard care. Don't forget also about the Magic Bean. It's a composting mixture that is going to grow your plants and shrubs and everything else like you've never seen before. Check it out on the web. It's hansonstree.com. That's hansonstree.com.
Reed's Rockets in Wright City has your fireworks. Try the Max 800 shot for a 30-minute show. Want the ultimate American celebration? Get This Is America with over 100 gigantic color bursts. Family owned and operated, Reed's caters for families with the biggest kid selection. Spend $100 or more and get a kids assortment free. Reed's Rockets, 425 West Service Road North in Wright City. Take I-70 exit 199 and look for the big red and white striped tent. Open through July 10th. ReedsRockets.com.
Reed's Rockets in Wright City has your fireworks. Try the Max 800 shot for a 30-minute show. Want the ultimate American celebration? Get This Is America with over 100 gigantic color bursts. Family owned and operated, Reed's caters for families with the biggest kid selection. Spend $100 or more and get a kids assortment free. Reed's Rockets, 425 West Service Road North in Wright City. Take I-70 exit 199 and look for the big red and white striped tent. Open through July 10th. ReedsRockets.com.
Tony Colombo here for my dentist, Dr. Matt Boscia at New Creation Dental Care, the one-stop shop for all your family's dental needs. And Dr. Boscia is always expanding his services, now including the incredible all-on-4 full arch implant procedure, full mouth restoration that can give you back your smile in as little as 1 day. No more suffering with damaged or missing teeth or poor-fitting dentures. You can see some amazing smile makeovers, learn more about the all-on-4 procedure, and see everything Dr. Boscia can do right now at newcreationdentalcare.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, I just was messaging Rick because I said, man, we went so long. We were having so much fun talking about everything under the sun that I absolutely forgot to ask you about the hideout. So I'm going to talk about it now. And the hideout, of course, right there in High Ridge. It's just down Gravois. It's 10 minutes south of 270, and you're going to have a ton of fun this weekend. They have music all weekend long and live music all weekend long. And even if it's hot and you're not wanting to sit on the patio, you go inside and get cooled off with a nice cold beer or a fabulous drink. And how about those hot wings? How about that absolutely wonderful burger they've got going there? And by the way, hot dogs. And guess what? The hot dogs, which are gigantic and 100% all beef, you can also get at the hideout at the golf course, Sugar Creek Golf Course, which is absolutely amazeballs. You go there and they've got the hideout in the clubhouse, and then they've got the hideout and the drinks on the golf carts as well. So you can go ahead and phone your order in. They'll bring it out to you, whatever hole you happen to be on. And so that is Hideout 2. And then Hideout 1, of course, right there. 10 minutes south of Gravois and 270. Really fun place, great vibe, live music, and the patio there at night is really cool, all lit up and everything. It's just a great place to hang out, really super easy to get to. Check it out on Facebook, Hideout, the Hideout people.
On the next
Larry Connors, USA.
Never Trumper John LaBoutiere reacting to a Muslim socialist who could be the next New York mayor.
Larry Connors, USA. Now, weeknights 6 until 8 on News Talk STL.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. This is the Allman Report on News Talk STL. And so the new thing now, as they are kind of having trouble with the success that they thought was going to happen with embracing the violent thug illegal aliens, the Democrat Party is trying to figure out something else because all of their ICE protesting and all that kind of stuff doesn't really seem to be working. So now the brilliant minds in Congress, such as Jasmine Crockett, are deciding that they are going to go after Melania Trump and question her immigration status and all that has happened there. And, of course, they look just as stupid and sound just as stupid as you'd imagine in doing so.
We're talking about integrity. I'm confused as to why my Republican colleagues aren't talking about the lack of integrity when it comes to the president's family's visas. Let me remind y'all that Melania, the first lady, a model. And when I say model, I'm not talking about Tyra Banks, Cindy Crawford, or Naomi Campbell level, applied for and was given an EB1 visa.
First of all, this is really interesting because Melania Trump is a model. I actually think she's prettier than Naomi Campbell, but I don't really care one way or the other. I don't really sit there and I don't have a list of like the top 10 models or whatever. But you notice that she tries to, I mean, this is why Jasmine Crockett is so small and crazy, and why we're desperately hoping that she does, in fact, become kind of the titular leader of the Democrat Party, because that's going to make things super easy in 2026 and 2028. So anyway, she's trying to like downgrade Melania Trump because she's not as pretty as these other models she lists. So, yeah. Okay.
And what that stands for is an Einstein visa. Now, y'all that don't know, let me tell you.
You know, really, there's nothing more just pleasing to the ear than seeing people in Congress and when they're addressing Congress and committee hearings saying "yow," you know, that's really just, I mean, I always feel like, wow, this country is really high on that IQ level, you know, and of course she doesn't speak like that, which is even more crazy. But you know,
how you receive an Einstein visa.
I mean, like, she's actually literally making this accent up. Like she's literally faking this hood accent for some reason, because there's tape all over the place of her speaking normally. So this is all fake, which is really even crazier because it's really nutty. It's one thing, you've heard people who are kind of, you know, maybe insecure about their intelligence, kind of over enunciating, over pronouncing, that kind of thing, and trying to sound more intelligent, whatever. But there's very few people who have who purposely have themselves sounding less intelligent. Like, I don't know too many people like that who believe that it's an upgrade to downgrade how you come across with your grammar and your intelligence. Like, I don't know many people who think that dumbing themselves down and making themselves sound worse is a good thing. But for some reason, Jasmine Crockett it's like the opposite of coaching. You know, something's wrong here.
You're supposed to have some sort of significant achievement, like being awarded a Nobel Peace Prize or a Pulitzer.
Yeah. By the way, it's funny that she talks about the Nobel Peace Prize and the Pulitzer, and I was going to talk about this at some point. I really don't. I'm not one of those people just hoping that President Trump gets the Nobel Peace Prize, because the Nobel Peace Prize, you know, doesn't mean anything. I hope you know that, right? Because Barack Obama got the Nobel Peace Prize. So at that point, when he got it, that was when we realized that the Nobel Peace Prize didn't mean anything. Like it just lost its luster. So I don't know why we then turn around and say President Trump should get the Nobel Peace Prize, which means nothing. And I realize in the whole scheme of things, you know, the elitist place and among the people who are the thoughtful people in the media and everything else, the Nobel Peace Prize still means something. But you and me both know it doesn't, right? And she mentions the Pulitzer too. It's like they give Pulitzer prizes for people who make up stories. So how does the Pulitzer Prize in this modern day mean anything? I mean, if you're a Pulitzer Prize winner back in the 60s or whatever, I mean, my goodness gracious, you're a badass. But a Pulitzer Prize winner now, I guess that prize doesn't mean anything. They give those prizes out to people who literally lie.
An Olympic medalist or having other sustained extraordinary abilities and success in sciences, arts, education, business, or athletics. Last time I checked, the First Lady had none of those accolades under her belt. It doesn't take an Einstein to see that the math ain't mathin' here.
Whew. Wow, really? It's weird that she's even I kind of like, where are we here in the world where you have somebody who's kind of like citing Einstein and then like who's like one of the most intelligent people in the world and ever in history, and then using the name Einstein and say the math ain't mathin'. I know Einstein, but the math ain't mathin'. It's like we know you're no Einstein. Like, you're proving that you're not even close to Einstein. You're not even a molecule of Einstein. But it's just so strange to have that those words all in one sentence. It's the math ain't mathin' and Einstein. It's like, wow, that's quite a feat. She's talented at being totally, completely untalented.
Nevertheless, what Republicans are doing with this reconciliation process, the travel bans and revoking visas, jeopardizes our national security.
Yeah, and you know what's interesting too? This is not to mention that that she is a black leader who is promoting illegal immigration and open borders. That she has to know, if she's plugged in any way, shape, or form to the black community, that she has to know that that has destroyed many black communities. And for the life of me, I can't figure out how black leaders are being, and one of them even getting herself indicted, how these individuals think it's good for the black community to defend foreign invaders and illegals, people who actually are in the end probably hurting the black community more than they are any community in existence right now. Taking jobs away, all those kinds of things. Like, it's affecting the black community probably harder than anything. So I'm trying to figure out what you could possibly excuse if you're a black leader fighting as hard as you've ever fought for a bunch of foreign illegal criminals. It doesn't make any sense to me. Like, do you realize that one of the ways that Jasmine Crockett has been most prominent is in her fight against Donald Trump and his enforcement of the border, which is totally and completely surprising to me. It doesn't make one lick of sense here. So I'm trying to figure out like nobody's ever really addressed that. Like, okay, you're a black leader, so how is this going over in the black community? Your voracious and almost constant defense of illegal aliens. How's it going over?
Our communities, our higher education, and our economy. Visas like the largely vetted J visas for higher education and M visas for trade, training, attract the next innovators, medical providers, researchers, and educators that we need to build on American success.
Yeah, that's totally untrue. The H-1B visa program is being abused, and it needs to be. And of all people who ought to be fighting for H-1B visa reforms and other things like that, it ought to be politicians like Jasmine Crockett. It ought to be members of the Democrat Party. I mean, it ought to be people who are fighting for American jobs. And this is where I think there are a lot of people who are going to be stepping off the Democrat train. Just doesn't, it's not working for them. Anyway, hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. Ashlyn, thank you so much for everything. And thank you all for listening to the show. Straight up, we've got Tony Colombo and Colombo and Company here at News Talk STL 101.9 and 94.1.
Connor Roofing. You can count on Connor. Connor Roofing is now a two-time winner of the National Best of the Best Award for customer satisfaction for roofing, storm damage restoration, siding, gutters, both residential and commercial. Please visit ConnorRoofing.com for an estimate. And remember, you can count on Connor.
Concerned about the condition of your windows driving up your energy bills? I was too. Until I called STL Windows and Doors. Call today for your free in-home estimate and start saving tomorrow. 314-277-5952 or stlwindowsanddoors.com.
Jeffco Patriot Radio.
Hey guys, I don't know about you, but I love learning about national and international issues here on News Talk STL. But do you know what's going on in your neck of the woods, your city, your county, and its politics? If you live in Jefferson County and want to know more about what's happening locally, join Speaker Tim Jones and me, Councilman Billy Crow, as we dive into all things Jefferson County on Sundays at high noon on Jeffco Patriot Radio.
Jeffco Patriot Radio.
On News Talk STL.
Columbo here for my friends at Bluff City Outdoors in Alton. The knowledgeable staff at Bluff City has served the St. Louis outdoor community for decades, and they can take care of all your bow hunting needs, all your trapping needs, all your fishing needs, and more. Plus, while you're there, you can schedule a trip with a local fishing guide and shoot in their archery range. Bluff City Outdoors is open 7 days a week, 1 mile east of Fast Eddie's at 2813 East Broadway in Alton. Follow them on Facebook and at bluffcityoutdoors.com.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps in the afternoon.
Speaking to former U.S. Senator Jim Talent, I think we can safely say that Greta Thunberg has officially jumped the shark.
I have to tell you, how you react to this girl is a real tell. And Tim, can you imagine? I mean, I have 2 girls. Imagine if I'd come home and one of them starts lecturing me in this fashion.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps, weekdays at 4 on News Talk STL. KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNVS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Jason Walker. Major victory for America in a 6-3 ruling. Supreme Court says states can cut off Medicaid money for Planned Parenthood. South Carolina argued no public money should go to the high-profile abortion provider. Press Secretary Caroline Levis says the White House welcomes the ruling.
The president has always maintained that Americans should not be forced to violate their conscience and their religious liberty by having their tax dollars fund abortions, and we're glad the Supreme Court ruled on that side.
Florida Republican Congresswoman Kat Kammack says her office is evacuated due to imminent death threats against her, her unborn child, family, and staff following a report about her pregnancy.
The Wall Street Journal published an article on Sunday where Representative Kammack shared the challenges she faced getting treatment for a life-threatening ectopic pregnancy in May of 2024. She is pregnant again and is due in the summer. Since the article was published, Kammack said in a Wednesday post on X, quote, "We have received thousands of hate-filled messages and dozens of credible threats from pro-abortion activists, which law enforcement is actively investigating." Kammack opposes abortion and co-chairs the House pro-life caucus. Bernie Bennett reporting.
Also at townhall.com, Senate Majority Leader John Thune says he's still hoping for a weekend vote on the big, beautiful bill, but says the wheels turn slowly on Capitol Hill.
A lot of the voting will happen on Saturday. But at least and we'll see. I mean, we're waiting for all the bird bath rulings, which are taking a lot longer because the Democrats are contesting and challenging pretty much everything.
GE Appliances announcing a nearly $500 million project that will create 800 jobs and shift production of clothes washers from China to a manufacturing complex in Louisville, Kentucky. Company says the investment positions itself to rank as the biggest U.S. manufacturer of washing machines. More on this stories at townhall.com.
Hi, it's Mike Gallagher, host of the Mike Gallagher Show here. And when it comes to mortgages, I only trust the team that's helped me and my family more than once. Mike and Brian at Fellowship Home Loans. These guys are friends, believers. They built a company on biblical values that actually puts you first. In today's economy, with everything costing more, you need a lender who can help you make smart strategic moves when it comes to real estate. Need cash for home improvements? Thinking about a HELOC or a refi to consolidate debt? Well, Fellowship Home Loans can help you do it faster and for less. Why? Because they're a direct lender, not a broker. No middleman. No unnecessary fees. That means fewer hoops, less waiting, and real answers from real people who care. Whether you're buying, selling, refinancing, or just exploring your options, Fellowship Home Loans will tailor everything to your unique needs. Get started at fellowshiphomeloans.com/Mike G. fellowshiphomeloans.com/Mike G, or call 800-510-MIKE, 800-510-6453. Fellowship Home Loans, mortgage lending by the book.
Nationwide Mortgage Bankers, DBA Fellowship Home Loans, Equal Housing Lender, NMLS number 819382.
Evidence in Ukraine that Russia deployed a new drone technology from Iran.
Last week, Ukrainian drone hunters searching through the debris of Russia's nightly